Certainly one of the most impressive openings to any film this year. Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage. I've reviewed almost 500 Indian movies on the channel, including director Vedvin Maran's previous films, Adu Kalam, Visa Lanai, Vada Chennai and Asuran. His newest one, Vidu Talai, which translates to Freedom, is a period crime drama that comes in two parts. It is set in the 1980s in a very rural part of India. The main players here are the government, who wants to allow a mining company to take over some land for their operation, the local people who live in that area, the extremist group Makal Padai, which translates to People's Army, who thinks the land belongs to the people, and finally the police, who is there to enforce the government's decisions. The movie begins with a short animated sequence explaining just that, and afterwards we witness the aftermath of a train accident which supposedly was the result of a terror attack by the People's Army. Director Vedvin Maran shows us this aftermath in an incredible 12-minute long one-shot. Fortunately, it won't remain the only thing that's pretty great about Vidu Talai. The real story kicks in when our actual protagonist, a newly recruited policeman named Kumar Hasan, is appointed as a driver in this big police operation titled Ghost Hunt. Their mission? To make their presence near the locals be felt and to identify and capture the man who's behind the People's Army. The mysterious leader Perumal, played by the great Vijay Sethupathi, who's actually not really much in this movie, to be honest. He will be in the second part for sure, but here it's limited to a few but very important and powerful scenes. Who is in the movie a lot is our actual lead actor Suri. He plays Kumar Hasan and he's absolutely fantastic. As far as I know, this marks the first time for him as a lead, after he has acted in almost 100 other films. His performance and the character he plays are essential for the movie to work. Kumar Hasan is someone who isn't yet compromised by the corrupt system. He's certainly naive, but he's not stupid. He has a good heart and a strong moral compass. He knows what's right and what's not. And it doesn't take long until his righteous nature clashes with the strict hierarchy of the police, which isn't so much about serving the people or even just having an efficient structure, but much more with the ego and sadism of his superior. Having a young good guy getting eaten alive by the system is of course nothing new, but Suri's endearing performance and Vedvin Maran's relentless style make it appear fresh and intriguing nevertheless. And Vidu Talai really is relentless. Not just because of its subject matter or the explicitness of its police brutality, but also because it really has a relentless pace. The dialogue can come across like a machine gun at times, and for someone who is absolutely dependent on reading the subtitles, that can make for a rather exhausting and challenging experience. It's certainly stimulating how the movie transitions from one scene to the next, how the sound is overlapping, how our protagonist, and we with him, are getting tossed around and embroiled in this brutal world. The editing can be a lot. Thankfully, there are also scenes in which the movie slows down a little bit, and be just by letting a shot breathe a little bit more, which to me instantly stood out. Like seeing our protagonist run a huge distance in one take, or see him jumping up and down as a form of punishment without cutting the material. It makes everything feel more real and it makes Suri's performance come across even stronger. There are also two wonderful song sequences that add even more humanity to Kumar Hasan. Yes, there's a romance in Vidu Talai, but it's very touching, because his love interest isn't just this shallow and beautiful woman, but a very fierce and also kind of different looking young woman. Bhavani Sre plays Tamila Rasi and they have a really good and sweet chemistry. The music was composed by none other than Ilayaraja and the two songs are really lovely and also again a nice change of pace and opportunity to relax for a moment. As far as the music goes for the rest of the movie, I'm a bit torn. For the most part it's alright, but there are a few choices that felt rather odd. For one, because they are very prominent and draw attention to the music itself, and two, because they clash with the rest of the tone. This is very likely very intentional, but there's this one montage of violence in the second half that felt a bit too upbeat and playful for my taste. I guess it should amplify even more how horrible the things actually are, but it didn't work that well for me. Now, though I have praised some of the editing, at the same time I can't help but feel the editing is also one of the things that diminish my enjoyment and involvement in the film the most. I simply don't understand so many editing choices here. What I mean by that is that I don't see the reason behind choosing specific shots and their order. And this is mostly in scenes in which people are just talking with each other. Oftentimes the movie jumps back and forth between very long shots and mediums or close-ups, or jumping around between several different angles. There's a certain language to film, and there are certain effects that can be created by the way you edit your material. But oftentimes I felt as if the movie wasn't following any specific intention here, and it came across just as confusing or misguided. This might not sound like much, but it actually is, because the way something is presented and be just a conversation is pretty crucial in how it's affecting you. I was also a bit confused about the actual story at one point, specifically how Tamiralasi's family story was connected to Perumal. Might be because of the subtitles, but it wasn't that clear to me how it all worked out in the timeline. But for another highlight, I think it was a great choice to cast Gautam Vasudev Menon in a crucial role here. He's fantastic. When it comes to this part's finale, I'm a bit torn again, and I don't know yet how to feel about it. I found it quite fascinating and intriguing to watch how our protagonist is being pushed to his limit and how he's doing everything in his power to fix the situation. But there are some choices that are a bit extreme, like him shooting people, which feels a bit out of character. And there are also some small but important moments in that chase that felt a bit too comical and unbelievable to me. And I also think it's a bit hard to come to a final conclusion about the movie without having seen part 2, because the ending is really abrupt, and I think depending on how this story is further developed and coming to a conclusion, I either really end up liking or even loving it, or just see it as something interesting but not fully working. What I enjoyed the most so far is Sudhi's performance, how Vettula Maran is creating this dark and brutal world, and how he juxtaposes it with the charming romance and wonderful songs. Now, this has really nothing to do with the actual movie, but there's this preview of the second movie playing during the end credits, and I have to say it comes across as quite amateurish. Like they just threw in what they filmed so far without much effort put into a somewhat coherent form, and also already giving away quite a few plot points that maybe should have been reserved for when we watch the actual film. Anyway, so in German I'd say, Vettula Maran bleibt sich treu und katapultiert uns in eine düstere und brutale Welt, die aber großartig durch die warmherzige Charakterisierung unseres Protagonisten konterkariert wird. Der Film steckt voller bemerkenswerter Momente, ist aber auch geplagt von einem doch sehr durchwachsenen Schnitt. Ob es am Ende zu etwas Großem reicht, wissen wir wohl erst nach Teil 2. At this point, I give Vidutalai Part 1 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.3, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Vidutalai Part 1. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd and also on Patreon, simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.